What you consistently focus on eventually shapes the reality of your life. This is very true. If you if your attention is on lack, if your attention is on negativity, if your attention is on, always the bad things that happen in the society, you are eventually going to reflect it in your life. This is very true. We are living in a world that is competing for our attention. Everything wants your attention. And bad enough, the news is they dish out from the media houses, from the social media, from all this. There are always, reports of economic hardship, of violence, of killings. It's always negative. That's what works for them, by the way, because bad news sells faster. But when you begin to consume some of these things, where you make it your everyday focus, unknowingly to you, it begins to form a subconscious within you, a subconscious of lack, of negativity. So that's why when you see people who have become a victim of this, they are always thinking negative. They're always thinking nothing is going to work. So those are the people who make statements like, nothing will work for this country again. This country don't go. You know why? Because by the reason of the news they have so much submitted themselves to, they only see bad things. They don't see new things. And that's why so many people are pessimistic. So many people don't believe in the country again. Some people, when you begin to talk about Nigeria, when you begin to talk about the country, they believe that, oh, this country is not going to get well again. Oh, somebody just said some funny thing. Let's sell this country, share the money, and everybody finds their way. So when you begin to hear sarcastic statements like that, you begin to wonder. There's a template laid out for every believer. If you're a believer, by the way, Bible says, look unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. In other words, there is everyone who have received Christ to their life. You are meant to look at Jesus. Your attention, your focus should be on Jesus, not on the world, not on the economic hardship, not on the killings. Now, by the way, I'm not saying you should not pay attention to what is going on in your world, but it shouldn't become your focus. Let me show you something. Remember in the Old Testament, a time came, the children of Israel, they were beaten by serpents by the reason of their disobedience, by the way. And Moses cried out to God, and God said, made a brazen serpent, put it upon the pole, and tell them to look at the pole. The serpent upon the pole, which is a typology of, the cross, Christ on the cross. So God was painting a picture, said, no matter what you are going through, no matter the serpent that is biting you, don't pay attention on the serpent. Look at this brazen serpent on the pole. That is, look at the cross. Look at Christ. He is the author and the finisher of your life. So it doesn't matter what is going on with your life. It doesn't matter what the economy looks like. It doesn't matter what the country is saying. Your attention, where your gaze is what matters, because that's what is going to define the reality of your life. If your attention is on the things that will instill fear to you, if your attention is on the things that will put anxiety, put depression in your heart, it reflects in your life. But one of the advantages when we look to Christ is that we are spiritually transformed. We become like Him. When you look to Christ through the word, when you look at Christ through prayer, through worship, through fellowship with God, what happens is you begin to change. And one of the things God does to you is that He brings peace in your heart. Bible said He will keep them in perfect peace, those whose mind is stayed on Him. So when you're in a situation where everybody's panicking, everybody's in anxiety, everybody's in depression, everybody's in chaos, but you just have that peace of mind. You have joy. You have all these things, and your solution, the wisdom to come out of the problem, the light you need to, to get the direction, it begins to come, because those things are what we get when we look at him. Our faith is, skyrocketed. So in this time, there are so many things going around the world. Your attention should be on Jesus through the word.